Welcome to this edition of the Native News Update. I'm your host for today's program, Paul Demain. Many of the stories and information found here can be found at our website at IndianCountryNews.com, where your online membership and or donation helps with the development of this television station. Here's the news for the day from the Associated Press and other Native news sources. Sex offenders who live or work on the Yakama Reservation in Washington state will now have to register with the tribe. The Yakama Nation recently approved a resolution creating a register of sex offenders. Those who fail to register could face a penalty of up to 1 year in jail, a $5,000 fine, and probation. Cities and counties usually require offenders to report where they live. The Yakama Nation is the first government in the Yakama Valley to require sex offenders to not only register if they are living on the reservation, but also if they're just working there. The resolution applies to Indians and non-Indians alike. A federal judge has ruled against another attempt by a Western tribe and conservationists to halt a massive gold mine project in northeast Nevada. The Western Shoshone and Great Lakes Basin Resource Watch asked for the stay pending their appeal filed with a federal appeals court over U.S. District Judge Larry Hicks' earlier ruling in support of the project. The plaintiffs opposed the U.S. Bureau of Land Management's record of decisions allowing Barrick Gold Corporation to dig a 2,000-foot deep open pit at the Cortez Hills mine on Mount Tenabo, 250 miles east of Reno, Nevada. They're trying to block the project on religious and environmental grounds, saying it will destroy a sacred landmark. But Hicks last week rejected the new request for a stay, saying the public interest lies in favor of permitting the project to move forward. Celebrated tribal elder Agnes O'Shaney Millie, who taught hide tanning and beadwork to generations of people on the Flathead Reservation and received recognition from the National Endowment for the Arts, has passed away at 93 years old last week. Millie was among our most revered elders who was equally respected on the Salish and Kootenai communities, said James Steele, Jr., chairman of the Confederated Salish and Kootenai tribes. She passed away of natural causes February 10th at St. Luke's Community Hospital in Ronan, Montana, tribal spokesman Rob McDonald said. In 2003, the National Endowment for the Arts awarded Millie a National Heritage Fellowship. She taught tanning at Salish Kootenai College for 28 years and was known for telling students that it takes brains to tan a hide. She made a pair of gloves for boxing superstar Muhammad Ali and a vest that hangs in the Washington, D.C. office of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, according to a biography released by tribal officials. Millie was fluent in the language of the Salish and the Kootenai tribes, said Tony N. Cashola, director of the Salish Pen d'Oreilles Cultural Committee. Actor Wes Studi talked about facing fears, success in Hollywood, and holding on to what you learn in life when he addressed a general assembly of students at B. Gitch Middle School in Anchorage, Alaska recently. But his star performance came at an after-school meeting with kids in the Indian Education program. He recreated a climatic scene from The Last of the Mohicans, in which he played a Huron warrior who rips the heart out of a despised British officer and takes a bite out of it. "Ooh," came the chorus of young voices. "I'm going to have nightmares now," said one. "Oh, come on," Studi replied. "You've heard scarier stuff than that." Studi was visiting Alaska on his fourth trip there as the next guest on the Pillars of America series, a program of motivational speakers sponsored by Anchorage Rotary Clubs with the intent of inspiring today's young Alaskans. In Oklahoma, Cherokee, Studi served in Vietnam and became a Native American rights activist after receiving an honorable discharge. He returned to Oklahoma sometime later, enrolled in college, worked to promote Cherokee as both a written and spoken language, spent time ranching and horse training. He also started performing in local theater and television productions. He began his narrative to the Begitch crowd, describing the fear he had as he pondered whether to try his luck in Hollywood. When you're in the wings, waiting for your cue, a huge wall of fear erects itself right in front of you, said Studi. Overcoming that fear takes effort. You push yourself onto the stage, and boom, the magic begins. A federal appeals court says a Browning, Montana man is not an American Indian as defined by federal law and reversed his conviction for assault resulting in serious bodily injury. In a 2-to-1 vote, a 3-judge panel of the 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ordered February 9th that Christopher Cruz be acquitted. The federal government now has 14 days in which to ask the 3-judge panel to rehear the appeal or to ask for a hearing before the entire court. Cruz, now 21, is in prison in the Herlong Federal Correctional Institute in Northern California and will remain there until any additional court proceedings are concluded. Cruz was convicted after a one-day trial and was sentenced in 2007 to 3 years and 9 months in federal prison. While Cruz has 22% Indian blood, he disputed prosecutors' determination that he was an Indian as defined by federal law. On appeal, Cruz argued there was insufficient evidence that he is an Indian under federal law and that the district court erred when instructing the jury as to how to determine his Indian status. Cruz has descendant status with the Blackfeet tribe, but the appellate judges said he failed to meet a 4-pronged test of whether he could be classified as an American Indian under law for the purpose of prosecuting him for a crime. Number 1, tribal enrollment. Number 2, government recognition formally and informally through receipt of assistance reserved only to American Indians. 3, enjoyment of the benefits of tribal affiliation. And 4, social recognition as an Indian through residence on a reservation and participation in Indian social life. Cruz meets none of those criteria, and the governing case law intentionally requires more than a simple blood test to determine whether someone is legally deemed an Indian, Judge Stephen Reinhart wrote in the majority opinion. The San Carlos Apache tribe is laying off workers at its Apache Gold Casino Resort east of Globe, Arizona, and taking other steps to deal with falling revenue. Cutbacks include eliminating Keno games and closing the adjacent golf course. 45 workers were laid off. Tribal Chairman Winsler Nosey Sr. calls the layoffs unfortunate but a necessary interim step as the economy worsens. Arizona Indian Gaming Association Executive Director Sheila Morago says casinos around the state have responded to the slowdown by cutting travel, not filling open positions, and reducing hours. But she says the actions by the Apache tribe are the first major layoffs at the state's 23 native casinos. Combined revenue dropped 16% in the fourth quarter of 2008 for those casinos in Arizona. There will be a mini powwow and spaghetti feed fundraiser this Friday, February 20th from 4 until 8 p.m. at the LCO Convention Center on the LCO Reservation. They'll be doing a $5 plate for a salad, spaghetti, dessert, and a drink, and they'll be featuring Native American arts and crafts with a song and dance exhibition by the Woodland Dancers and Grindstone Lake Singers. This event will also include an honoring of Birkebeiner participants at 7 o'clock for the International Ski Race that's coming up the next day on Saturday, February 21st in Sawyer County, Wisconsin, a well-known international cross-country ski race. Check out WOJB's hand drum presentation, now doing a replay in the Powwow TV channel. We did a live feed on February 14th at the LCO Casino Convention Center. We made it through a couple technical issues that day, but we learned a lot, and we're going to be doing it again. So stay tuned. And that's the latest roundup of news from Indian Country on this edition of the Native News Update. We want to thank our underwriters for helping us with this broadcast. Thank you.